America's just getting raked over the coals. He really stepped in it this time. Call it Christmas Crash Out 2.0. He crashed out last Christmas and he's doing it again. You just can't make this stuff up, you know. Like, this guy just can't help himself but to have these crash outs one after the next, you know. It's almost like it's by design, you know. God's just put him there for everyone to laugh at. Americans, heritage Americans. What are you gonna say? Trump's children? You know, Bigger's not American. Yeah, he is. You don't understand what an American is. That's the problem. You don't understand the founding of this country and who this country is for. The 1790 Naturalization Act makes Barron Trump an American, but not you, Vivek. That's the problem. You don't know the difference. Well, I think he does know. He just doesn't want to say it. He's just trying to attack all heritage Americans to keep it. And it's not even that he's attacking heritage Americans. He doesn't even know what he's attacking. What he's actually attacking is ethnic Americans. That's what he's really attacking. People who are actually American. You don't have to be a heritage American to be an actual American. You don't have to be here since the founding of the country to be an American. But you do have to abide by the 1790 Naturalization Act. It's a fact. So he doesn't know. And all he's doing by stepping in it is allowing us to educate everyone on how American is an ethnicity. American is an ethnicity. Yeah. If you don't know what an ethnicity is, go ahead and look it up. People who share the same race, culture, heritage, language, lineage, history. That's the definition of an ethnicity, and America ticks off all those boxes. That's it. And Vivek is getting hung up because he doesn't understand that American is an ethnicity. He's denying the ethnicity of Americans, and he's trying to do it in a roundabout way. But what he's doing is he's shitting all over himself like a street shitter that he is. This is very standard for small-brained Indians, and yes, Indians do have small brains. They posted about this in the Hindu Times and the Brain Atlas, that Indians have smaller brains than everyone else. This is their own sources that I'm running with here. It's not an attack on Indians, it's just they have a small brain. Per the Hindu Times, the Brain Atlas, they openly state they have small brains. So Vivek, he's up there trying to tell us what's an American. Well, he doesn't know. He doesn't know what an American is. He's just making up bullshit. And that's the problem. And now everyone's starting to educate themselves. And he said it himself. He said this is a growing position. It's a growing position. Well, I wonder how that started growing. I wonder how that became a growing position. Heck. Because Americans are recognizing who they are. They've been lied to. Americans have been lied to believe that Vivek is an American. Vivek is not an American. He is Indian. Even by Trump's very own standard. Vivek is an anchor baby, and AKA not American. Period. And yet he wants to lecture us about what it is to be an American. Well, you're not an American, so shut the hell up and sit. You have no say in this. It's that simple. Says, if you're an American, then you're an American. Doesn't matter if you're a heritage American or not. You're American. Well, you're not an American, Vivek. You're not an American. And all these people are like, oh, well, he stands for 17. No, he doesn't. He's a Soros shill. In 2021, he was posting about how great Soros was. It was 4 years ago. He ran DEI programs at his own company just 4 years ago. The guy, people don't flip from being a full-blown Soros shill running DEI and advocating for all this to all of a sudden, I'm a 1776 American. No, you don't do that, Vivek. You're full of it, and you're trying to infiltrate the right, and everyone's starting to realize that you're trying to infiltrate the right. You're getting blasted because you're retarded and you're a scammer, and people know, and they see it, and nobody wants to vote for a Vivek. Americans don't want to vote for Vivek, and when I say Americans, I'm talking about people who are ethnically American. You know, he calls them heritage Americans. Well, who he's really referring to is white people in America when he says heritage Americans. He's referring to white Americans. You're not more American than me. Yes, we are, Vivek. Sit down, because you're not even an American to begin with. We're not going to listen to some scammer invader tell us about who we are. Never let your enemy dictate who you are. Never let your enemy teach you who you are. What you'll end up with is the Ghislaine Maxwell, Robert Maxwell textbooks to demonize you to no end. And that's what we've been living through. And we all watched and saw how that worked out. Yeah, enough of this bullshit of Vivek trying to tell us what an American is. He's an Indian. He's not an American. And no one's buying it. Everyone's sick of the nonsense. American is an ethnicity. Americans have been on this land for over 400 years. Okay? We have our own language. We have our own culture. We have our own lineage, heritage. Yeah. We're an ethnicity. Americans are an ethnicity. Now, are there people who have American citizenship who are not ethnically American? Yeah, there are. But there's a clear, distinct difference between people who are ethnically American and people who are paper Americans. Okay? And they don't want you to understand that difference because they completely crumble. Their entire position, their entire deep state CIA position falls on its face. Then all of a sudden there's no more Vivek Ram scammers in our politics. Then all of a sudden there's no more Alien Omars in our politics. You see how that works? That's why they don't want you to recognize that American is an ethnicity, and that's why they falsified all the textbooks full of garbage and demonized people who are ethnically American, so that we would accept all these people like Vivek showing up and trying to tell us what is an American. We're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. And if anyone's curious, you can go to ethnicamerican.org and learn all about it from the very founding principles of this country, from the very beginning. It's really simple. Our founding fathers clearly stated who we the people were. Our own nation of people, we the people, our own ethnic group of people. That's why they didn't include blacks, free blacks or enslaved blacks. They didn't include the Redskin savages. They didn't include them because they're not part of the nation. In order to be part of a nation, you have to share the same race, culture, heritage, language, lineage. You know? That's how it works in the entire world. That's how it works back in India too. They love Modi. Vivek loves Modi over there in India. He is a hyper-nationalist. Hyper-nationalist. Vivek talks about him all the time. Modi's doing it right. He knows how to do it. Well, let's apply Modi's standard to the United States. You're not an American, Vivek. You see how that works? It's strange how they're hyper-nationalists in their own country, and then as soon as they come to America, they want everyone to be kumbaya. Oh, there's no such thing as this hyper-nationalism. Well, you're a hyper-nationalist for India, but you don't want us to be for America because you want to be here and you want to steal and scam off of our heritage, off of our inheritance. We're not going to let you do that, Vivek. Americans are done with that BS. We're just not going to do it. Period. We will never let them do it. They've been forcing this onto us for over 60 years, and we're done. We're done. We see where it's gotten us. Go look at the architecture from before World War II to the architecture bullshit they're putting out there now. Yeah? Go look at it. You tell me. Which is better? Which is more beautiful? You'll see. Real quick. You know, and this whole claim, well, I was born. Yeah, there's no such thing as magic dirt that changes your DNA to make you ethnically American. It doesn't work like that. Well, I built this. These people built it. It doesn't matter. Building something doesn't change your DNA. It doesn't change your ethnicity. Period. It doesn't. All these claims, all these tropes that they come with, they all fall on their face. It's all bullshit. And to the people that don't know what an American is, well,
what's called progress there, JM 884423? Progress? You talking about ethnically cleansing white people and giving no white person a country to call home? Is that what you're saying?
Well, yeah. They might get fooled, but as soon as they understand,
we were just fine. Our money was just fine when it was just, just us here. I'm okay with that.
What an American is, they're no longer fooled. That's why they don't want you to know what an American is. Because if you don't know what an American is, they can have some dingbat like Vivek show up and start trying to tell everyone what an American is. No, it doesn't work like that. We know exactly what an American is. Our founding fathers put it in writing. It's in our founding documents. And again, it doesn't matter if you've been here for 400 years or a generation. You can still be ethnically American if you tick off the boxes set forth by the founding fathers. But if you don't, then you're not an American. It's simple. Vivek loves to talk about 1776 until it comes to the founding documents and what they actually say in 1776. It says, well, if you have anything race-based, you're not part of this movement. Bullshit. The founding fathers, 1776, that you're banging on about 24/7, they had race-based immigration laws. Yeah, because that's the literal definition of a nation. Not this fake and gay bullshit that they push onto us now, changing the definition of nation 10 times. We're talking about the real definition of nation with the etymology of the term. Yeah, look it up. The definition.
I just want to put this out here for y'all. These articles written by James Sewell are so freaking good, and there's so many resources that he puts in the hyperlinks for this stuff so that it goes straight to it. Isn't that freaking cool as shit? This is some of the best work I've ever seen. I'm amazed by it every time I peruse them.
The definition of nation and the definition of ethnicity are identical.
I wouldn't be on YouTube if it wasn't for progress. Take your progressive ass on to another channel. Or sit there and learn and get an education. Either way, I don't give a shit. What are we, 15 minutes in? I messed up.
Otherwise, none of this would have. But they got in there. They manipulated these terms to brainwash people and allow them to have open borders. It's unacceptable.
If I don't mind hitting the like button, I appreciate it. Thank you. I think you can double tap the screen.
Good morning, Overwatch.
Morning, General. Excellent summary.
Yeah, I just wanted to open with that today because everybody seems so confused about what an American is. And Vivek running out there telling heritage Americans, aka white Americans, that you're not, that me as an anchor baby, you're not even an American, Vivek. Shut your mouth. Stop making this Christmas crash out 2.0. Everyone's sick of it. That whole race baiting bullshit is gone. It's done and over with. No one's buying into it anymore. No one cares.
What do you think, chat? Is Vivek an American or no?
To be called a racist. In fact, the most racist thing you can possibly do is trying to steal somebody else's identity, which that's exactly what Vivek's doing. He's trying to steal the American identity. He's not an American. Period. Full stop. By any standard of the measure, he is not an American. Period. And he never will be. And he never can be. So, yeah, he can piss off with his nonsense. And by him doing this, it's just waking up a lot more people to that position. His whole Christmas crash out is going to come back and bite him big time. You know, American is an ethnicity. That's all I can tell you. And by definition, it's very clear that American is an ethnicity. Now, I will say this one more time. There are people in the United States who have citizenship, but they're not ethnically American. It's the same way in Germany. There are people in Germany who have citizenship in Germany, but they are not ethnically German. Okay? Same thing with Britain. There are people living in Britain who have citizenship, but they are not ethnically British. Okay? Same thing in Spain. There are people living in Spain with citizenship who are not ethnically Spanish. Okay? It's the same thing in America. American is an ethnicity, but there are people living in America who have citizenship, a piece of paper, but they're not ethnically American. There's a very clear distinction there. Okay, and for these people to come in and try to demonize actual Americans, real Americans, not paper Americans, ethnic Americans, people who are ethnically American, you've lost your fucking mind. You've lost your mind. And you're gonna piss off everybody, especially when you're running for governor of a 80% white state. You've just completely imploded yourself. But yeah, Rush, good to see you. Good morning.
General, good morning. Apologies for running late. But yeah, it was a pretty good white drilling weekend with Vivek shooting himself in the foot again and trying to tell us what an American is. It doesn't seem like anyone wants to hear about his version of what an American is, unless you're a Jewish or a foreigner yourself. So it's funny. But Overwatch, I see your hand. You can go ahead, buddy.
Yeah, this race thing is becoming a huge deal. They're very sensitive about it. James O'Keefe put out a post about Cash Patel and FBI released the documents about when they raided his office, and of course the shit was all redacted. So he went on there bitching about it, and so I replied, I said, well, is the Indian, is the Indian taking care of you yet? And I said, I put another post, I said, maybe we should put maybe we should put an ethnic American in there, and he might be a little bit more concerned about, what's going on with you, an ethnic American. And some people immediately came in and said, oh, this has nothing to do with this race or his status. They do not like scratching at that at all. So it's very interesting. I think the general's on point. I think everything centers around that. Many things center around that. I think it's key, and I think they are scared shitless every time you point it out, because they all jump in. So it doesn't have anything to do with this ethnicity. He sucks. One comment even said, yeah, he sucks, but this has nothing to do with ethnicity. It's crazy.
Well, yeah, that's why it's important to start talking about this, because it does have everything to do with his ethnicity. And that's why they force Donald Trump to light cow shit on fire in the Oval Office. That's part of their ethnicity, right? That's their culture, that's their identity, that's the Hindu, monkey god worshipping bullshit, demon worship. And so that it's 100% to do with their ethnic identity, without a doubt. So yeah, it's something that has to start being pushed, and Vivek is very scared of this. He is very afraid of this catching steam. That's why he's focusing on this so much. And he's starting to throw J.D. Vance's wife under the bus with it too. And it's not going to be good for J.D. Vance, because now he's just going to drag J.D. Vance down with the ship by him pointing out Ushra, who, by the way, I think Vivek and Ushra Vance are cousins somehow, so... and J.D. Vance came out and said something like, anyone who says anything about my wife and her Indian descent can eat shit. Like, well, you can eat shit. You married it. Like, don't get pissed when people call it out for the bullshit that it is. You married a foreigner who culture eats cow poop and drinks cow piss and lights cow shit on fire in the Oval Office. You married into that. People are gonna be pissed. People don't want to support that bullshit anymore. We saw what DEI has done to this country. The diversity, equity, inclusion. It destroyed America. We have planes falling out of the sky. Yeah. Because of ESG scores and DEI and affirmative action and all this nonsense. Yeah, it destroyed America. And it was designed to destroy America. That was the whole purpose of it. It's clear. It's not a secret anymore. It's right in your face. You can't run and hide from it. I mean, Rush, you've faced this before yourself, haven't you? Where they just openly told you, like, sorry, white boy, we can't hire you.
Yeah, and that follows the requirements of affirmative action, and they were told that they were doing the right thing by telling people they couldn't have jobs for being white. It's quite funny, but the EEO is cracking down on that supposedly, and they want you to report that. And they're going to start cracking down on discrimination against white people. pretty odd. Hopefully they do, but the shift and the change, there's something behind it. Maybe it is because we're going to get these mass deportations. Still haven't gotten any. In my opinion, I still think it's all fake and gay. But at least the rhetoric is changing in America. The Overton window is shifting, and here on Christmas again. Last Christmas we were talking about work visa, and this Christmas, hopefully Americans are going to start talking about what is an American, and who are we as a people, and the Overton window just keeps shifting.
Well, and that's you guys, us. We did that. Took us a year, but we got it done. This is the standard conversation around the Christmas table this year. So hats off to everybody here that participated and really drove that home. I put a post up from Harmy Dillon up there in the Jumbotron, and there was a bus driver in Juanita County that she got fired because she put a sign saying English only on the bus, no speaking Spanish on this bus, period. And they fired her for it because of the invaders who can't speak English. And they're...
Let's take a look at that real quick.
I do care. I care about a lot.
Caring is exactly what Diane Crawford says led her to serve the Juniata County School District and subcontract with Rohrer Bus.
I don't know what else to do. I get Medicare and Medicaid now and SNAP. I had to go on antidepressants because of this.
Crawford says her contract with Rohrer Bus came to a halt February 1st after she put up this sign which read, "Out of respect to English-only students, there will be no speaking Spanish on this bus."
I didn't mean to be racially insensitive or anything like that.
Crawford claims she never got to explain that the sign was put up to encourage safe and respectful behaviors and was directed at a bilingual student who allegedly had a history of riling up other students.
I didn't know if he was bullying somebody, telling them to do something they shouldn't do. How do you keep control of your bus if you have no control?
Yep. That's some bullshit.
Speaking Spanish because they're invaders, and now they fired her. Well, Harmy Dajit Dillon is now gonna have to go in there and go after that whole case, because now, like, this is what we're talking about. This is what happens when you let Vivek tell you who is an American. A woman like this, who's ethnically American, a heritage American, is getting fired for telling invaders, hey, speak English. In America, we speak English. Yeah, that's what happens when you let people like Vivek tell you who is an American. Because to Vivek, those kids speaking Spanish are just as American as you. And you have to be fired from your job for standing up for your ethnicity and your country. Yeah, there was a huge pushback, and that's thanks to X. It got rushed right in her face harder than anything. She has no choice. You notice it's Harmy Dillon putting this post out. It's not the EEO lady putting it out, because it got any of these situations now that take steam on X, they're going to be forced. So we have a voice anytime we see this kind of thing happening now. Run it up the chain. This is where the X is the media. We are the media now. This is the most trusted news source on the planet. And when things get picked up here, they're going to be forced, and this lady's going to be the winner on this. And it's going to teach all these invaders that they need to get out of our country. You can't just say, oh, you said a bad word. Oh, you said the N-word. Oh, no, you told me to speak English. You're going to lose your job. You know, it's not even, she didn't call him the N-word. She didn't call him anything. She just said, hey, speak English. That's how extreme this has gotten. That's how bad we're invaded. And the fact that the government actually goes after these people and the school district can fire somebody for saying, hey, speak English. Yep, it's time. It's either time this ends real quick or it's time for 1776 all over again, because we're not giving up our country. American is an ethnicity. We have nowhere else to run. They say, oh, go back to Europe. Yeah, we're not from Europe. We're from America. We're American. We're American. We're not the same as Europeans. Yeah, we descend from the same lineage, but we're not European. We're American. And that's a fact. And we got nowhere to go. So when this shit goes down, God bless America, and thank God we have guns. Because we're tired of this. We're absolutely tired of this. They pushed it to the brink, and it's not going to happen anymore. We're fighting back. We're done being silent. And God bless Elon Musk for allowing X to exist and allow real news to get.
We're talking about this lady that got fired for requiring the students on her bus to speak English. It's only 1 minute. I know some of y'all, X is the enemy. No, X is not the enemy. X is the only reliable news source. That's why I cover Spaces on X. I'm happy to show you this clip again. It's only a minute.
I do care. I care about a lot.
Caring is exactly what Diane Crawford says led her to serve the Juniata County School District and subcontract with Rohrer Bus.
I don't know what else to do. I get Medicare and Medicaid now and SNAP. I had to go on antidepressants because of this.
Crawford says her contract with Rohrer Bus came to a halt February 1st after she put up this sign which read, "Out of respect to English-only students, there will be no speaking Spanish on this bus."
I didn't mean to be racially insensitive or anything like that.
Crawford claims she never got to explain that the sign was put up to encourage safe and respectful behaviors and was directed at a bilingual student who allegedly had a history of riling up other students.
I didn't know if he was bullying somebody, telling them to do something they shouldn't do. How do you keep control of your bus if you have no control?
So that's what we're kind of talking about, and how Harmeet Dillon is supposedly doing something about it, or has somebody doing something about it. That's why I showed you this, and that's what the general's talking about right now, kind of.
To get out there. Otherwise, none of this would have ever happened. So just keep that in mind too. It's a big opportunity for the Western world to have an actual voice when the tyrants are coming down on you. You know, Thomas Jefferson said it. So when you hear the words condemning a free press, freedom of speech, you're hearing the words of a tyrant. Anyone who's trying to silence you, you're hearing the words of a tyrant. And it doesn't matter if it's in the form of quote-unquote hate speech. That's also tyrannical. Trying to silence your speech. That's tyrannical. According to our founding fathers, the ones who put their signature on the Bill of Rights, on the Constitution, the man who authored the Declaration of Independence, according to that man, Anyone trying to silence your speech, you're listening to a tyrant. And it's time for action. It's time for action. He also said, if you no longer have sovereignty, you got some fighting to do. So, I think he also said, from time to time, the tree of liberty needs to be watered with the blood of patriots and tyrants. And he outlined who the tyrants are. So, yep, we're getting there, guys. Either they turn this ship around real quick, or it's not looking pretty. It's gonna get pretty damn wild. Yeah, go ahead, Overwatch. You came off mic.
Well, I remember, like Rush was talking about. I think I'm a little bit older than him, but yeah, they would come in and blatantly do that stuff, and they had us in, wartime levels of propaganda, like Rush always says, and well, this is the government requirements, and this is legal, and we have to do this, and these people are, they convinced us with all these fake stats that these people are repressed, or they need a hand up, and we have to do this, and the whole time it's going on, you're like, man, this isn't right. Something's wrong. This is bullshit. But they poured all this propaganda onto us and classes and the companies and all this stuff, and got everybody to go along with it. And but I remember that. I mean, that used to be so blatant. They would just come out and say, we've got to hire these minorities here. And a lot of white ethnic Americans are like, okay, I guess that's the way. If it's government policy, and going back to the Constitution, this parsing of it, it's like, well, yeah, the founding fathers did this, this, and this, and we like this, but this over here, this ethnicity stuff and the issues with slavery and all that, well, that was bad. So we'll keep the good and we'll disregard the bad. We won't talk about it, why it was that way, and get into the real history of it, because they didn't want us to find out the real history. They just said, well, this part good, that part bad. Shut up about this bad part over here. They were wrong here, and let's just move on and let's subvert the crap out of the Constitution and the founders. That's what they did. And now we can see it. Now we can see. I mean, everybody knew that like something wasn't wrong back in the day. You could feel it in your soul, but it was so much propaganda. You just didn't know what was wrong. But now with the history and stuff coming out, and this space and general and everybody's work on the website, everybody can see now. It's like the scales are falling from their eyes, and boy, are they scared. I'll land it.
Yeah, and that's one of the biggest wins of the Trump administration is he got rid of affirmative action on day one, something that held back a lot of Americans. But at the same time, DEI is in full force, backed by corporate ESG scores. That's still being practiced across corporate America, and I don't think the Indian Sikh is going to be our savior when it comes to that, unfortunately.
No, they need just to General's point, all those same people in corporate, they were all about all that stuff. They're all still there. A large portion of them, they're all still there. They may be changing their tune and stuff, but they need to be called out. I don't care if they change their tune or not. Like, no, yeah, that's great. But, are you just doing this because that's the trend of the day? Or do you see the error of your ways? Do you still support that crap? They need to be called on the carpet, and just not let the skate and just switch sides and go, okay, I'm on the winning team now. They need a little bit of pushback. They need to answer for that. So do you still believe this philosophy? What do you think? Do you know what an American is? Et cetera, et cetera.
Well, it's a perfect time for the Ethnic American Project trying to help us identify who we are as a people. He couldn't have come at a more pertinent time for us as a group of people, as Americans.
gonna go. I'm gonna go into work today, and probably gonna be the only one in the office. But I got some stuff I got to do, so we'll see who's. It'll be interesting to see who's there. We got a couple of projects rolling. I let Jaden up. If that's okay. Morning, Jaden.
Good morning. So tired, man. I just woke up.
What's going on in your world? You got a mic, so you working today? You off?
You said what?
Are you working today? Are you off? You doing the holiday thing? What's going on in your world?
Oh, I don't have a job yet. I'm on the job search, man. I'm trying to look for something good.
Yeah, well, good luck. Keep it up. Things are changing. My neighbors are starting to get more interviews. The ones that are looking, as some of these hiring companies and stuff get exposed. So, but they need to step on the gas, man. People, white ethnic Americans are still not getting hired in mass, and it's hurting people big time. They got to get these people out of here. They got to step on the gas. Trump's got to step on the gas.
Yeah, I'm having an issue with like getting a job because all this crap they're doing, like they're filtering out what race they want to hire. And I mean, you could tell when you're doing the application, it literally asks you, what race are you? And it gives you a whole list of things. And for me, I honestly think like it's like none of your business what race I am, you know what I mean? I think it matters about if I'm going to do a good job or not, or if I'm competent enough.
Well, of course it does, but you saw that post from the EEOC lady. Get on there. If you see that stuff, copy it, screenshot it, send it to her. That's illegal. They can't ask that. So hit them up, light them up, make that your second hobby.
We have another Indian lady who's now trying to say, "Oh, America, it's not about, it's not about blood and DNA." Okay, this is another Vivek case of let me tell you who you are as an invader. This woman just showed up off the boat, and she's trying to tell us. She says, I put the post in the Jumbotron. This is my response to her. It's allegiance to the law, liberty, merit, and the Constitution. All right, well, let's look at the Constitution. What does the Constitution say? Constitution says we the people. We have the legal definition for we the people. It says for ourselves and our posterity. That's not you, Indian lady. That doesn't include you. She's from Ohio. Indian in Ohio, from the GOP, advocating for Vivek Ram scammer. Another Indian. Let me tell you how your country includes me. Yeah, no thanks. You're not included. The Supreme Court of the United States of America already ruled on this. In 1923, the Indians tried to get citizenship. The Supreme Court said no. You're not white. You can't be American. They cited the 1790 Naturalization Act, the founding document of our country. Yeah.
Are ethnic American.
Now they're up here trying to tell us who is and isn't an American. This woman was born in India, trying to tell us.
Does that say are half ethnic Americans still ethnic Americans? That's like a big debate. What's the amount that you could still be considered ethnically American? What the forefathers said was you had to be from. Here, let me go back to the home. I'll show you the map. A free white person of good moral character. What is white? It's this map right here. if your bloodline is from this map right here, then you qualify to be an ethnic American. It's very simple. You see it? I think some people put out a quarter. If you're anything more than a quarter, or anything, anything less than 75%, then no. Some people say one drop, then no. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what the answer to that is. I'd say you're, partially ethnic American. I don't know.
Who is and isn't an American? It's in her bio. Born in India, made in America. You're not made in America. You were literally made in India. You're born in India.
You can pretty much look at somebody and tell if they're freaking, if they qualify to be an ethnic American or not. It's not rocket science.
This is the kind of bullshit that we have to put up with as Americans. And we're sick of it. These people have no sense. You want to know how much blood and soil is in America? Go look at Operation Wetback. They kicked out damn near every single Mexican in the United States. 60% of them had U.S. citizenship. They stripped them of their citizenship and kicked them out. Because America's blood and soil. Surprise. This is our great-grandparents' generation. It's not that long ago when this happened. So, yeah. I mean, there are people still alive right now that were alive when that was going on. That were alive when that went down. It was not that long ago. So, yeah, it's pretty wild to have to listen to invaders. I got my paperwork. And she even writes, reject that, and citizenship is just paperwork. It's not. America's not just an idea. It's not a piece of paper. You're called a paper American. You're not a real American. That's a fact.
Well, that's right. I mean, look at diplomas. Look what they've done to diplomas. What are they worth? They're a piece of paper. It's the same concept. You can devalue any piece of paper to the point that it's worthless, and that's what they've done by flooding us with all these paper Americans, and then putting them over in charge of ethnic Americans, and saying they should have high positions of power and rule over you, and now we're finding out all their degrees are fake too, and a lot of times their paper citizenship's fake because it's fraudulent. They lied about it. They lied to get it. It's crazy.
Well, it's the same thing in America. They all lied to get their citizenship here. And there's plenty of cases where you have to be able to speak English to even to get that piece of paper. And there's tons of people they gave that piece of paper to that couldn't speak English. It's fraud. It's fraud. It's all fraud. This woman is a fraud. She's living a fraudulent life trying to tell us who we are. Vivek is a fraud. He's living a fraudulent life trying to tell us who we are, because he's not one of us, and we all know it. The Supreme Court knew it. Everyone knows it. It's clear. This kind of nonsense is done and over with, and the fact that they're trying to push this bullshit onto the right now, of all people, good luck. They should have pushed that onto the left, but they don't want to push that onto the left. They want to push it onto the right. They already did it to the left. They destroyed the left with that. They turned the left communist with this ideology. That's how the left became communists, with this bullshit ideology. And now they're trying to do it to the right. And they're sending the Indians in. Another Indian, another Indian, another Indian. You're racist, sir. If you don't let me steal your inheritance, sir, you're racist. Okay. I'm racist then. I don't care. I'm not going to let you steal my children's future. I'm not going to let you steal our inheritance of this nation. It wasn't built for you. It was built by my forefathers, not by your forefathers. This was built for me and my people, not for you. Just like India was built for your people, by your people. Okay?
I'm glad you agree, Shane L5430. You should check out ethnicamerican.org if you want some reading materials or whatever. I try to refer to it periodically during the show.
Okay, Tsar, go back to India. We have no interest in letting these people have any political power over us whatsoever. And being an American isn't just an idea, like this lady says. They don't know the Constitution. They don't understand it. They were told a fake Ghislaine Maxwell, Robert Maxwell version of our Constitution. It literally says for ourselves and our posterity. That means white Americans, ethnic Americans, people who are ethnically American. And that's it. No one else.
Also, please like and subscribe. That'd be great.
That's who they were talking about. That's why they wrote this and ratified it in 1788, and in 1790 they wrote out the Naturalization Act, explaining who can become part of this nation. Free white people
Thank you, sir.
of good moral character only. No one else. It's clear as day. We the people, for ourselves and our posterity, for ourselves and our future generations. And Vivek is angry because he's not included in that. That's why he's pissed. And he's trying to sell it to everyone, just like he sold his fake ass Alzheimer's drug and ripped everybody off for billions of dollars by selling a bunch of bullshit. And he's doing the same thing again, trying to sell away our ethnic identity so that everyone can come here and have access to our inheritance and destroy what we've built. And we've seen it be destroyed because of this stupid, retarded ideology that Vivek is bringing. Oh, anyone can be an American. Oh, yeah. They started that shit in 1965. How'd that work out for us since 1965? They destroyed America. They cut up America into a bunch of little pieces, cut up all of our corporations, and shipped it all overseas. And then they imported a bunch of slave labor for the last remaining good jobs in America. They completely gutted us because of this idea of Vivek's. It's total nonsense. Complete and total nonsense.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty white pilling over the weekend. We had someone that's going to compete with Vivek, and his fight for the American position. I made a comment, just with the Ethnic American Project underneath their underneath this post, and he responded back, and it was the Ethnic American Project where it's the family sitting out there. The guy that's gonna run against Vivek in Ohio responded back with a picture of his family. I mean, to me, that was extremely white pilling thing to see. I mean, this is what we're fighting for: is our people and our identity, our group. It's what everyone else is fighting for, also. But we've been brainwashed with war levels of propaganda not to fight for ourselves, and I see that changing really quickly. And to me, it's reason to be optimistic.
Yeah, 100%, Rush. I don't see any hands down there yet. See one request. I don't know who that is. Bisco Bison X. Somebody can let him up there if you want. Jay, you got your Bill, is it you wanted to speak or you just left it up?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, like, it's crazy how these guys want to wave around this paper when my ancestors came here over 200 years ago. And a lot of people in my family fought in a lot of these wars. Like, these guys didn't fight in any of these wars. I mean, how many of these beats did you see in World War II or Vietnam or any of those wars? Probably little to none, if not none at all. Like, and then they come here with their papers, and all they can do, they can't get a regular job. They just scam hard-working Americans out of their money. I mean, we see it all over the place.
Yeah, Italian man, you want to comment?
Yeah, I do. Good morning, gentlemen. A couple things.
Hellhound, you said you worked National Data Center in Chicago. Over 200 engineers worked on that floor. That's 2004. Man, it's been going on real bad for a while. It's just gotten so bad now. Everybody's freaking noticing it. I mean, look at how many ethnic Americans are not getting hired for those positions. They told us to go to school and get these degrees, these high-end engineering degrees and shit, and spend $100,000 on your education, and then when you get out, you can't even freaking get a job because DEI score or ESG scores and all this. We got to have so many whatever they call them minorities, when really white people are the minority. So I don't even like calling them minorities, because white people are only 7% of the world. We're the freaking minority, dog.
One was trying to recall back the post that Vivek had put out about something about let's actually read some of the documents from our founding, and I took his advice and went back and actually read them with an open mind, trying to stand in his shoes, defend his position, just in my mind as an intellectually honest position. And you just can't find validation for what they are looking for. The mind has to separate legal and lawful as opposed to opinions and inference. And everybody's hanging their hat on that plaque on the bottom of Ellis Island Statue of Liberty. And that's only an inference. There's actual documents and cases and law and the founding documents and all that, which James been going night and day on. So let's read everything. Yeah, everybody needs to read everything. I think we need to promote Vivek's comment there, because
what Italian man's talking about is this guy James Sewell, who's part of our ethnic American team on X, is writing these articles on ethnicamerican.org. You can go to the blog, right? And these articles are so freaking amazing, dude. Y'all have got to go check them out. You go click on one, and he's got everything hyperlinked for all his sources, right? If he mentions the Trump's executive order, see how it's hyperlinked right there? If I click on that, boom, it takes you to the White House website with his executive order on it and shit. I mean, I'm talking about this stuff is done well. You want somebody that brings freaking receipts, dog? It's just amazing the work that he's putting in. He's like one of the founding fathers of our freaking time, dude. This dude's putting in work. I mean, not trying to glaze too much, but he's doing a really good job.
Because the more intellectually honest people that read and take an honest assessment will see that our position's the one that's actually to be stood behind. And second comment is, I'm a builder. The longer I put time in on building things, whether for myself or for other people, the more value it has. So the fact that they're trying to give an inference that anybody can come here at any point in time and just step in ungratefully on top of what's been built. My family came by invite in the 1890s through Ellis Island. They did it lawfully. They abandoned country and king of Italy, and
if y'all don't mind hitting the like button, helps get the show out there. Apparently when I don't do Charlie Kirk stuff, I don't get quite as many people on the live stream, but whatever.
Honored my grandfather's
thank you for whoever just did that.
great grandfather's decision to do that. My grandfather, fought in World War II, stormed beaches in the Pacific, survived hand-to-hand combat with a Jap.
What up, Disanon? How you doing today, sir? That's my homie right there in the chat, Disanon.
And if he didn't, I wouldn't even be here right now. Because his daughter, my mother, wasn't born at that time. So, my family started building here. But even me being here, even coming by invite, even looking at the paperwork and the documents, seeing where I have lawful invitation. I could become a part of the American identity, and even become an ethnic American by virtue of my DNA. I don't sit there and disrespect all the long timers, or what we may classify as heritage Americans or whatnot. I understand we definitely need to fine tune the definitions and the words we're using, but in my mind, I have respect towards families that have been here longer. They've been through the ups and downs. They sacrificed more than mine have. So there's no way I'm just gonna, as a man, can walk around and feel any bit honorable, sitting on that for other people. So, know your place, know where you fit in. There's nothing wrong with saying, hey, I came here at this time, and yep, I fit in legally and lawfully, and became American, and it is what it is. So, I'm for me, I'm going to promote the truth of those things, the honesty of it, because that's a foundation to stand on. And we see the struggle that the Viveks are having because their entire footing is built on a lie and gaslighting and manipulation. And we're in an age where truth and transparency is, finally getting to the surface. And if that's your footing, have fun. And for us, let's rug pulling on them, and enjoy watching them fall. I'll land there. Perfect. Yeah.
Great. Go ahead, Rush.
No, I just say thanks, Italian man. I mean, and that is the misnomer that try to conflate the heritage American. I mean, that the heritage American is our position. It's who are Americans. It did, and there's no purity spiraling in our side. We just go off of what the founding fathers stated in the 1790 Act. I mean, we have everything we need. It's just a matter of putting it together.
People have put in a lot of work on that website, including the guy right here that's talking Rush. He's got some articles on there as well that are really well written. And this ain't AI slop, okay? This is somebody putting in time. You'll hear James talk in a minute. Yeah, like sometimes he comes in because these spaces are held every day on X. General holds them every day on X from like 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. Eastern Standard. And he comes in, he'd be like, man, I was up all fucking night writing this. He's all tired. You can tell his brain's scattered. And he's trying to give you a rundown of the article he just wrote and all that stuff. I don't know, it's just really good material, I think.
And bringing it to the attention of the American people. And I feel like that's what we're doing at the forefront. And seeing
also, if you don't like how, like, if I always wanted to like read the Federalist Papers and stuff like that, never really looked it up how to get them, but there's links to all that shit.
way way Vivek was receptive in his AM. I called it a Turning Point USA conference last week. Turning Point USA was all over everything. I thought that's what it was called, but I guess it was AM Fest. And I personally never heard of this conference before, but it was pretty, white pilling to hear.
Why am I the only one that, the only way you get to hear these spaces, you can't, are you in the UK too and can't go on, we got another one, I can't remember their name, maybe I'll remember it if I see it, but we got somebody that watches my channel from the UK because they won't let them on X in the UK without some shit or whatever, I don't know.
Hear the contrast of people like Ben Shapiro and then people like Tucker Carlson, and then hear the crowd and the way the crowd rallied behind certain talking points. I mean, the Overton window in America is shifting very quickly, and I think that conference that happened towards in the last week was pretty eye opening. But Rev, good morning, buddy. Good to see you jumping in there.
Good morning, Rush. Good to hear everybody, gentlemen.
Most of the weekday spaces are recorded. All you got to do is go on like the general's profile and scroll down and you see that. That's what we're listening to right now. So I like to listen to the recorded. I like to listen to them after they're done, unless I want to speak in the space, which I do frequently. But I like to listen to the recording when I'm streaming them, because then I can pause and interact with the live chat without trying to overtalk the live conversation that's going on. You can't pause the live conversation in the spaces.
And ladies, actually, that was not putting my hand up. That was a little misplaced 100.
Oh, you don't have an X account. My bad. I didn't read that part.
On my device, but since I'm here, I will just say hello. And yes, great conversation from all of the speakers as usual, and just a little update on that specific topic, Rush, about white pilling and what you hear in commentaries and stuff. Before coming in here, I was listening in on a space. I won't mention names, but they saw me and they threw me a mic, so I took, and that's why I've been away for so long. So a couple of us of known accounts within our circle, in other words, ethnic American pro-constitutionalists were in there stating some facts that were not really well received. And of course, the typical stereotypes chimed in, over-talking the points, calling him a liar, etc. A couple of them. Anyway, I made my point and got the hell out of there. But the point is that there's many reasons to be hopeful to have the white pills overpower the black pills, because like you said, Russ, there's a lot of things that have shifted. I don't think that the window is shifting. The fucking thing is wide open. It has become so wide now that it is unbelievable that people are still unaware of some of the things that we keep harping on, reminding people of, such as what is an American. And that is something that we should be proud of doing, because by no means am I saying we're the only ones, but absolutely we have been the ones that have been more influential, more consistent, and more effective at having that message and those facts being not only repeated but spread out, and even the general having the opportunity of being spread by huge accounts, Elon Musk being one of them. All of these things are points that we should be proud of and are actual proof that what is happening here, what we've been able to accomplish, is not only worthwhile, but it's effective, and it's something that we can be proud of. So thanks for the mic, and let's keep going. Good stuff as always.
Yeah, Italian man made me think about I don't want to get all biblical and stuff, but here's some wisdom out of the Bible. I put it down there in the purple pill, Luke 14:7 and 8. Read that and think about these people that come in our country and want to claim the highest seat and demand things and look at the wisdom in those two verses. When you come in, when you're invited in, you take the lower seat, and then the host will bring you up. You don't come in and take the highest seat, lest you be debased and be embarrassed in front of the whole assembly. And that's what these invaders do. So I thought that was very interesting. I remembered that. Thanks, Italian man.
Yeah, absolutely. That is exactly what they're doing. And look at what's happening to this guy because of it. He come right in, stole your identity, stole your ideals. You can agree with him, that's fine and all, but there's an order of respect and honor that you're just not going to get away from. And we've let that happen for too long. And now the guy's getting rug pulled in front of the entire world. In front of the entire world. What was it? Over 80% of his comments were negative under his post. I went in on all his posts and I'm just like, I got tired of scrolling. I did not see one post that was just reinforcing what this guy was saying. So, I mean, wake the hell up. Wake the hell up, you bandit and you thief. Pack your shit and get the hell out of here.
Yeah, he needs to be in prison, but over in India.
I'm gonna show y'all this real quick. This is crazy. I was just looking at all the stuff that Elon's definitely paying attention to the general's account. Obviously he's commenting and reposting and shit like that. Look at this crap. If y'all haven't seen this. Tell me that ain't some motherfucking bullshit right there, huh? I mean, they just openly hate us, bro. And I grew up not giving the two shits about what your race was. I grew up in a black neighborhood, and yeah, I had to fight all the time because it was a black neighborhood. But that was just like known. It was like I don't fault them for that. I imagine if a black kid grows up in an all white neighborhood, he probably gets his ass whooped sometimes. Because he's black, you know, he's different. You look different. You get treated a little different. You got different cultures. That's just how it is. I didn't even hate him for that. Hell, most of them was my friends. But you had to prove yourself first. But I mean, they just openly hate us. Once you get comfortable around them, or they get comfortable around you, they'll tell you how much they hate white people and shit. And it's like this with every race, bro. And it's only white people that are made to feel bad about about being racially aware. Damn, I can't say that. Racially aware.
He deserves for all that Alzheimer's scam. That he did that on the American people. That's horrible, dude. That's hurting people. That's wickedness. That's people's health. You don't do that.
Yeah, Bill Gates wants to genocide everybody and he wants to kill everybody that's smart, right? like it or don't, white people have the highest IQs. I don't really believe the Chinese statistics. Forgive me. Sorry, not sorry. But all you look at the PISA scores and everything like that. You can do your own research. They want to. Bill Gates wants to genocide us and replace us with dumb slave labor, bro. I mean, that's what they want. They always like their slave labor. That's it's like, nothing new in history, bro.
Yeah, well, Indian scammers. I mean, talking about the Overton window shifting, I mean, Jack Posobiec said it best. I mean, after Charlie Kirk's death, the Overton window has been shifted off its hinges. It has been slammed completely open. I mean, because they killed Charlie Kirk, the milquetoast fence sitter of us, and called him a Nazi. The position is switching quickly.
Yeah, I don't like Posobiec either. He's a shill. And Rush knows that too. But the thing about this space with the general is we call out people when they say good things, and we support the good things that they say, and then we blast them for the bad things they say. It's like that with Trump. When he does something good, we say he did a good job. And then when he does retarded crap, we tell him he's a piece of shit and he's retarded. You know what I mean? So I think that's kind of the best way to handle it. And yeah, I think Posobiec's definitely an agent. He's no better than he's like an Officer Tatum or people like that. All those shills.
People are talking about what is an American, and that heritage American thing. I think I heard General say it over the weekend. That is our position. That's how I describe when I'm trying to describe our position and patriot.
Yeah, Talmud Tatum.
Front, just that American heritage position, focusing on who we are as original Americans. That's our position. That's what we've been pushing over the past year in Vivek's comments. I mean, I had notifications turned on. I ratioed him a couple times, and we ratioed warped his psychology so much over the past year that he wrote a liberal op-ed post in the New York Times lambasting the Conservative Party and basically calling heritage Americans, the people that hold our position, worse than the woke left and the blue-haired churnies that are cutting their children's genitals off. And to see the Republican Party stand up against that, I mean, there really truly is a civil war of the Republican Party. And I think Andrew Torba, I don't know how to pronounce that guy's name, the guy from Gab, he said it best, I think. He said there isn't a civil war in the Republican Party. It's really just the Jews and foreigners against the Americans.
That's exactly what I was going to say. I was going to say it's these Israel first Zionist, either Jewish or Zionist, whatever, fucktards versus people that are America first. What did you say? They killed Charlie Kirk, and now you see number of Democrat live streams that hate Trump and they're trying to regain ground lost to Charlie in the culture war. I don't like Trump right now either myself, and I voted for him 3 times, but he's selling us out to Israel. So, Kirk was a grifter and a moron. Kirk looks like he was definitely not innocent. I don't know how closely y'all are following the investigation, but there was a whole lot of financial bad stuff, and it looks like Baron Coleman might be coming out with some new information that might lean towards Charlie being involved with maybe a plot to act like he was shot or something, and then they used that time to actually do it. So But I don't know. I mean, everything is all allegedly and maybe, or just kind of toying around with the ideas and trying to figure it all out. Either way, I didn't watch Charlie Kirk because he was a shill. He was an Israel shill. And it wasn't until after his, which I mean, I've seen clips of him roasting people on certain good points or whatever at the rallies and whatnot. And I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. He seems smart or whatever. But then I realized he was a shill. And so I didn't really watch him. And then you find out that he says, everybody points out the fact that he says he had no choice but to leave the Israel cause. But I think the more telling thing that he said in that very same message was he said that those Jewish donors play to all the stereotypes. Well, what stereotypes are you talking about? What stereotypes are you talking about there, Charlie Kirk, you anti-Semitic? Like, which I agree with him on that. And, it is what it is. I think that he was turning the corner, but he was built by the Jews, bro, or Zionists, or whatever, however you want to put it. I don't care what language you want to use, but they poured a lot of money into building TPUSA, and they weren't just gonna let him. It's blood in, blood out, bro. It's a big gang, bro. I mean, it is what it is, dog. And he started turning against their narrative, and so they offed him. I mean, that's what I believe. It looks like that's the strongest evidence points towards that. I'm willing to be convinced otherwise. It might have just been a money thing with the TPUSA guys or whatever, or something like that, or even Erica or whatever. But I don't know who all was involved, but that just seems like the most likely scenario.
And I thought that comment landed pretty well. But the Overton window is continuing to shift, and people are waking up, and I mean, we have to fight those war levels of empathy and sympathy that we've brainwashed ourselves with for so many years, and use that against them. I mean, we need to make our people have empathy for ourselves, have empathy for your own people. 6% of the global population that's quickly going extinct. Where's your empathy for those people?
Yeah, it's 87 million. I've heard bigger numbers than 87 million, so I mean, I don't know where you're getting your numbers at, but I will be very interested to see those tax filings when they come out. If it's even in a memory, we'll probably have a memory hold by then. I think we're fixing to solve the case. I think that have y'all seen the theories have y'all seen the Baron Coleman, the latest with the exploding mic deal? I had blew off the exploding mic because I didn't understand the, what is it called, shape charges or whatever, and how like they're like 90% efficient at pushing force into one direction without it going the other way. It's like, I've seen on Ian Carroll's Twitch earlier today, he showed a little video like kind of describing the shape charge, and so it's just, I don't know nothing about that shit, and so I dismissed that theory pretty early on. But it does make 100% sense with all the shirt movement and necklace and all that shit. That makes zero sense from the bullet perspective. Certainly the 30-06 perspective.
The hard part about that is too that to your point, Rush. Yes, we are a minority. Yes, we are roughly 6%. But that 6% in number has never been greater. In other words, even though
her family may very well have had to do something. What is it, Stoner? Is that your name?
Oh, it's a small percentage. The actual number of us globally
has never been greater. That means that what our ancestors, without the modernity, without the contact, without the ability to communicate and have instantaneous access, communication with each other, etc., were able to accomplish magnificent things, huge things, created a country that has stood the test of time because of how they formulated and how it was created. That is something that we need to look back on and stop really thinking that it's impossible or that it's not feasible to do with better tools, better communication, more access, more ability with the tools that have been afforded to us that our ancestors lacked. We should at least make them proud, at least make an effort to it. And I think we are doing that exactly. Just to touch on the population aspect in that space that I mentioned I was in before, I brought that up because they're saying, well, the white people aren't having enough kids. Get to it. That's not the case. It's impossible to, within a generation or two, counteract the invasion of 50, 60 million in the States alone. All of the invaders that we are forced to finance in Europe. It's not a matter of being able to outbreed them because, as the general says, he's brought up the statistics that the birth rates are similar within the races. It's the freaking invaders that are replacing us. It's not that they're outbreeding us. Yes, they bring children, but it's the physical presence of people that don't belong in our lands that is changing the demographics. It's not us not being able to reproduce. So let's keep that in mind as well.
Yeah, spot on. And Rev, your quiet background spoiling me, dude. I gotta say.
It's Christmas time.
I know, but I love it. But yeah, man, you always got good takes and good info. But I was. How do you say that the KC guy that's running in Ohio against Vivek? How do you say his last name? I don't want to mispronounce it. Anybody?
Push.
Okay, that's okay. Yeah. Well, so what's going to be interesting to see is he's exploding. Vivek is drowning himself. What's it going to take for Trump to back, to come on board with some of these candidates that we want? I mean, I just don't understand how he's still, he threw his support out there for Vivek a long time ago and just kind of let it sit there. I don't think he's been recently out there beating the drum for Vivek, quote unquote, but why? This guy's awesome. Casey's awesome. Why can't Trump back these people? And why is he backing all these jacked up candidates? He's backing that guy down in Texas, that commie over Brandon Herrera. I just don't get it, man. It's just blackpilling when he does this stuff.
Well, don't expect Trump to change his opinion anytime soon. I mean, I think that's key. We have to have these major upsets in Florida.
Look at that Thomas Massey, that poll that Thomas Massey put up. Is AG Pam Bondi being transparent and complying with the Epstein Files Transparency Act by releasing the appropriate and necessary information? The DOJ is not transparent. 97% with 181, almost 182,000 votes. That is wild. Nobody believes your bullshit anymore.
James Fishback has to get in over Byron McDonald. We need Casey Push over Vivek Ramaswamy. These things have to happen to show the American right who the base is and show, who has the majority support, for this party. The groups that he's pandering for, the Jewish people voted for Donald Trump at like a 30% rate. The Indians voted for him at I think it was around like 20 or 30% rate. His base, the people that support him, and they're only a small portion of population, so 2% of the population, 30% of the population voted for him. I mean, that's not how you're going to win an election. He needs us, the ethnic Americans of his population, and we have got to make sure that Fishback and Casey Push are successful. I mean, I'm not really 100% sold on James Fishback. He seems like a you know, a little too Obama-esque for me, and has a lot of history and stuff. But Casey Push, I mean, but
I've been seeing this all over my X feed today, about everybody should be redacting their tax filing this year. I think that's a wonderful idea. I'm not gonna lie. If they can fail audits at the Pentagon for fucking 8 years in a row with trillions of dollars, right, and send us out some fake and gay bullshit redacted, not compliant with the law at all, the law that was just passed, right, not compliant with that at all, Epstein files. I don't know why anybody's still paying their taxes. I mean, that's just retarded.
I'm still gonna vote
No, this is not financial advice. This is citizenship advice.
for him. Is still 1,000 times better than Byron McDonald's. But Casey Bush, I mean, that is a great example. That's a guy who's talking about the ethnic American position and who we are as a group of people, and not allowing invaders to come over here and call us lazy losers. I mean, he opened his campaign with saying, "I'm the loser American."
Well, to that point, I mean, you know, nobody's perfect and everybody's got a pass, but, you know, and he might get in there and rug pull us. You know, he might do that. But what's important is that people vote on candidates based on their platform and what they're, you know, what they're promising the people, what they're selling the people. So regardless, you know, I hope he doesn't. I hope he's true to what he's saying. But if he does, that shows that the people voted for that platform and voted for those points and those ideas. And so it at least, at a minimum, shows where the people are at, you know, to the powers that be.
Exactly. I mean, it's shifting that Overton window in the hearts and minds of our people of what they imagine is possible. So I mean, it's only going to continue to shift. I didn't think it was going to happen this fast. I didn't think we were going to see it by the 2026 election, but it is, and it's really kind of the thing to Donald Trump. You know, he's gotten into office, he's disappointed a lot of us, and he's encouraged a lot of Americans to step up. And I truly appreciate Americans like Casey Push and James Fishback that are standing up for Americans against these invaders, against this invasion, against the invasion that the Rhino right are encouraging. I mean, we had this AM Fest over the weekend. They had
Yeah, Disanon. I seen that on. I seen that somewhere already. I was aware of that. I think maybe even Ian brought it up on his Twitch earlier, on his Twitch stream.
Charlie Kirk's wife, Erica Kirk, sitting up there with Nicki Minaj talking about white people being discriminated against. I mean, it's the gayest, fakest shit in the world. We don't need Nicki Minaj to talk to us about, you know, white people being discriminated against in our society. It's whoever's running that organization. I mean, they've done kind of what they've tried to do. You know, they've tried to take over Charlie Kirk's legacy, but you could hear it in the crowd, even though it's a curtailed crowd of chosen people. You know, a lot of them aren't on board for Nicki Minaj and Ben Shapiro and the other things that they shoved down our throats in that AM Fest. It's quite encouraging. But who's saying was up first? I apologize. Was it Timian or James's?
Italian was up first.
Appreciate it, guys. And Rush, whenever Casey come on DEI site the other day, he said, "Put your money where your mouth is kind of how to pronounce it. But whatever. But what I'm seeing, we have the trifecta of governors that we need to try and push in to back our position, and I think we need to do this without Trump. let him oppose it. Let him and the Judeo Alliance, keep him from doing anything positive for us, and let's get this over the hill without them. And I think we need to take a serious look at what we need to do to accomplish that. And Overwatch, I'm not terribly educated in what's going on in Texas, but I believe that guy you guys been pushing over there is a counter to Greg Abbott. We definitely have to get Casey Puts across the primaries in May, and then Fishback in Florida, unless we come across someone bigger and better that we see that aligns with our agenda. So I would look at what we need to do to get as many primary voters in Ohio to turn out. How do we help encouragement? Do we need to crowdfund rides, to get people there to vote? I think we probably need to do something organic, but on not much accomplished before, by us, and as far as being involved in cross state and helping out as much as possible. So, because I think making that dent in the I guess the Kosher MAGA coalition would be critical for hearts and minds of people. I think if they saw that done, the federal elections are one thing, but our rulership over our individual citizens in each state is critical. So focusing on these guys, and there may be more out there, but between Texas, Florida, and Ohio, that's the national stage. That's the national temperament. That's the message that is sent to the rest of the states. Those are critical ones. So I kind of like where we're sitting, and I say let's pound. We ain't resting. Let's not sleep. Let's tag team. We got to come up with 24-hour spaces for the next year. Whatever. Let's do what we got to do to save ourselves.
Well, quick sidebar, if I may, Overwatch before the hands. We need to start being able to pronounce his name correctly. Casey Putsch. Think of Butch with a P. It's not hard, but I think we at least deserve to make an effort for it. It's Putsch, like Butch with a P instead of a V, if that helps.
Yeah, you're referring to Doc Pete Chambers, and like Fishback and all these new up and coming candidates that are America first, America only. I don't care if they're perfect, but like Doc, if you send him stuff, if you send him, I've sent him history and posts about our points and stuff, he responds. He at least has enough intellectual honesty, if he's not 100% on something, or if he's, he will look at it. And I mean, and Fishback, came on our show back in the day, and he's malleable, logically malleable. Anybody that's not perfect but logically malleable, I can get with, because you can work with that. But anybody that's wheels up in the ditch and just locked in, you can't work with that, But if you can show them the history and the stuff from our website, and they can take a look at it, and they can have enough intellectual honesty to say, yep, that is what it is, you can work with that. But yeah, we absolutely have to get out and support these candidates. I think Texas is March 3rd. I think you said yours is in April or May or whatever. But yeah, we've got to stop letting these globalist candidates get forced through, and so that we have the choice to vote between a turd and a cow patty, every time. That's what's been happening.
So Doc Chambers is running the primary Wheels Up Abbott?
It's March 3rd is when we select if it's going to be him or Abbott.
Oh, so he is running though. I thought it wasn't official yet.
Oh, I assumed it was official. Maybe I. No,
I don't know. I went and looked at his website. I was trying to confirm it. But that's exactly what we asked Overwatch. I remember 6 months ago, we were annoyed and pissed off that we had Byron McDonald's, Wheels Up Abbott, Vivek Ramaswamy, and these 3 key states, and we called for someone to stand up and primary them. There was people within the group that were going to stand up and get into it, but yet, now now we do have people that are standing up and doing it, and yeah, all three of them have directly communicated with the show and talked about talking points on the show. So I mean, to me, it is a really great time to be optimistic.
Well, I believe he's filed. I mean, he's traveling all over Texas, going to town and doing a campaign basically. So I'll have to check on that. But I thought he's officially put his name in the hat.
Perfect. Yeah, he needs to get that campaign tied to the top of his page so people can tell, by looking at him that he's running. But yeah, that would be huge if we had dog chambers in Texas. I mean, that would be the trifecta of us taking down the rhino of the Uniparty. And they're scared of us. That's why they're placating to us. It's not because they're winning the optics battle. But yeah, James, I'm sorry, buddy. Please jump in there.
It's very interesting. If you look up what his last name means, Putsch, I'm sure you guys have heard that word before, from the beer hall Putsch, when Adolf Hitler tried to create a coup d'etat and take over the German Weimar government at the time. It means a secretly plotted and suddenly executed attempt to overthrow a government. So it's very interesting that his last name is Putsch, right? Because, that's what we're trying to do, right? We're trying to get back to our founding documents and the way our country was set up. I don't want to derail the space, but I've got a new article. I can wait till you guys get through this, talking about all the people running this stuff if you'd like, and present it later. Or I can present it now, up to you.
I think the war levels of propaganda article ties in very well to what's going on. But yes, please go ahead, James. I'll throw it up at the top.
Right. So this is part 17 of the Great Ethnic American Displacement. It is called Media and Cultural Conquest. It's about the war in our minds, media, Hollywood schools, and big tech that vilify our heritage and guilt trip our kids. I open it up by talking about the systematic conquest of our culture, our history, and our minds via physical displacement, which we've talked about before in a lot of the previous articles, the open borders, the demographic ties, the foreign preference and policy. And I parallel that with the assaults on the ideas and identity of Americans coming from the press and the media. I explain how media conglomerates, Hollywood, academics, schools, and algorithms online vilify European heritage as being oppressive or racist. It instills guilt in our children, and it labels ethnic Americans' defenses as bigotry or supremacy. And then I go on to frame it as a massive psychological warfare, which ties in with what Rush always says. Exciting insurrections of the souls, and that comes from grievance number 23 from the Declaration of Independence. The grievance number 23 is talking to George III, and he says he has abdicated government here by declaring us out of his protection and waging war against us. George III declared that the colonists were in a state of open rebellion because they were speaking against him. And that's when he sent armies to the Americas, and he abdicated government, declaring that we were no longer under his protection. And this is kind of what's happening to us with these war levels of propaganda that Rush always talks about. It's an insurrection of the soul. They're pushing self-hatred, division, a false consciousness of who we are, and they're constraining a rejection of our ancestral legacy. And then they're demanding applause for our erasure as a virtue amongst our people. I discuss how the Founding Fathers understood narrative power, and I highlight Thomas Paine's common sense, which he wrote in January of 1776 and sold 120 copies in 3 months. Doesn't sound like a big number, but if that was done today, that would be 50 to 60 million copies.
Do y'all see that? That freaking, he hyperlinks all that shit, dog. All that shit. That is so freaking cool. I'm gonna go read that when I get done with this stream. This is fucking amazing, dude. Amazing. I love this guy.
Sold in 3 months, and it was read aloud in taverns and squares, and all the other pamphlets that were going around in the 1776 from Adams, Dickinson, that fueled a relatively free colonial press, more free than our press is today, despite having strong British suppression. And I contrast that with today. Ethnic Americans really don't have freedom for our voices. We have conglomerates and tech giants monopolizing information. They suppress our truth when we talk about our displacement, and they amplify lies to weaken, divide, and alienate us. And you can really see this in Spaces, how everything's designed to divide the message of ethnic Americans. And then I finally outlined this installment's content, which is media ownership consolidation, along with this ethnic pattern bias that we have. Selectively reporting hidden immigrant crime, hiding or distorting case studies. Hollywood has changed from patriotic to subversion. We have this huge project called the 1619 Project, which I'll tell you about in a second here, that distorts it distorts what our children are being taught. Our children are minorities in the classroom, and it has a psychological toll. We're censored by the government and tech collusion. And I tie this all to our founders' grievances, and I try to put forth an actionable plan for independent ethnic American media. The next thing I tackle is the 1619 Project, which I don't know if many of you have heard about, but this was a 2019 New York Times initiative that claimed 1619 as the true founding of America. It rapidly embedded itself within thousands of school curriculum across the country, and your children are probably being taught this today. And it asserts that America's true founding occurred in 1619 with the arrival of the first enslaved Africans, and not in 1776 with the Declaration of Independence. Its central claims I debunk, but there's a lot of key distortions that the American Revolution was fought primarily to preserve slavery. That's what your children are being taught if they're in school today. And they assert that slavery was the primary engine of American prosperity and capitalism in 1776. So I get into that, and that would be an interesting read for everyone to know how the New York Times has entered into the school curriculum of all American children now, and what they're actually teaching their children about who they are as ethnic Americans. And then finally, I get into the constitutionality of what's going on here. And I use what's called the common carrier doctrine. This is a historical legal rule that treats essential services, like in the 19th century with telegraphs and railroads, as neutral carriers that must serve everyone without discrimination. I attack Section 230, which is a 1996 law giving platforms immunity from liability for user content while letting them censor. And then I go into historical precedents like the telegraphs, railroads regulated for fair access, and Supreme Court cases restricting platform censorship. A really interesting one is Prune Yard Shopping Center versus Robbins in 1980, where they were kicking out kids for talking freely in the mall, and there's trying to squash free speech in private malls. But the Supreme Court decided that this is a quasi-public space, and I put forward that we are in a quasi-public space, and we should have freedom of speech on Facebook, X, and all over the internet. And I follow that up with the perspective of natural rights as speech being an inherent right that predates any type of government. And that comes from John Locke's idea that liberty must include free communication. And I follow with Madison talking in Federalist Number 10, stressing that we must have completely open debate to check factions and demand neutral conduits so that no private entity can silence us. And that's what's happening to us right now. We all know this, right? And then I connect back to the series Road to Revolution, comparing our modern censorship to colonial pamphlet suppression and the founders' grievances. So I'll land it there. Thank you all for taking the time to listen to me, and I hope you all repost it and give it a read.
100%, James. Thanks. Great work. You always do great work. Super cool to have you on the team and doing that stuff for America and Americans.
Yeah, James, I really look forward to reading it. How big I am on the war level of the propaganda, it's important for people to realize how they got here. And when you know what you're looking for, and it's obvious, and you see the propaganda, it's almost like a blatant shove in your face. I mean, I can't even watch the Jewish Holocaust grandmother survivor video on Fox News without laughing. We are breaking through these war levels of propaganda, and it's because of spaces like this, and just the American people waking up. And I really appreciate another great article, James. I really look forward to reading it.
We got Patrick down there is requesting Rush if you want to look them up. And I don't see any other hands, brother.
Yeah.
Oh, let me be frank as a hand up.
Yeah, let me be frank.
Go ahead, let me be frank.
Good morning, ethnic Americans, from a little bit rainy, I don't know, low 50s, Northern California. I just wanted to bring up, I don't know if you noticed in the AmFest, I think it's pronounced AmFest, not AmFest, Rush. There's in the flag that they have, there's 33 stars, not 50, 33. I don't know what that's about, but I don't know. Yeah, you know, do your own research. You do the math, blah, blah, blah. I was in Munich years ago for a bike race with a friend, German friend who he's a little bit older than me. He still has what's the word, that the generational guilt that they carry. So when I talk to him, I try to get through to him. He's I guess I don't think he's a boomer. He might be a boomer. I'm Gen X. He's a little older. It is what it is. But I actually saw where Hitler was arrested for the Putsch affair, for lack of a better word. But you know, it's funny when you say Putsch. I always think of the moped Putsch, which were great mopeds. I actually had one. My mother had one. Before I got my glasses, I actually slammed into a chain across the road at the farm where I was going to get eggs that I didn't see until the last minute. Got a scar on my chin from splitting my chin open. I've been banged up so many times. Concussions, near concussions, that I think that's why I'm kind of not as smart as I think I am. But what's the term? Shit, I forget. It'll come to me. But no, I saw the Rev. I saw Platypussy in that space earlier, and of course they were working on their points. But there's always going to be females and darkies who were pushing back hard. So it was really hard for them to actually get their point across. I guess it is what it is. And I wanted to say thank you, James, for all your work with your articles. I really appreciate it. You're doing the Lord's work, you know. And imagine this, and I'll leave it here. If we were all speaking German right now, could you imagine all of the great engineers we would have? And if we actually kept our purity and stood up for ourselves. But alas, we are where we are. I'll land it there. Thank you.
Well, Frank, I mean, I hate to break it to you, but English is a white European Germanic language. So, you know, there's that. But, yeah, who's next on the hands? Everybody pop their hands up.
Italian man is next.
Hey, everybody. I don't have long. I got to get to work. I just wanted to let everybody know that. But, oh, man, I lost my train of thought. But one thing I wanted to kind of tell everybody, this is kind of, just my mindset, what has happened to me. First, I gave a little bit of my, my story, my history. But, my handle, being an Italian man, and being ethnic American, seems to be a little bit of conflict. And I'm kind of leaving it there because I like the retardation of it. To me, it kind of reminds me of what I was put through, because during the Obama era is when I first started getting on Twitter and X and kind of created this handle this way. My family was, I had a pretty bad family life. Father wasn't real involved, and we kind of got a little screwed up, so we didn't have a lot of family identity going on. But the closeness to my family I did have was my mother's side, which they were pretty thick Italians, New York, New Jersey Italians, and into PA and stuff. So as we were getting scrambled with our identity, when this started surfacing, I think the Obama era kind of brought all this to light, and I recognized, for my own children, my own family, I saw our American identity getting watered down, and everybody's, I'm American, he's American, this is American, so I could see how my mind just gravitated towards, identity I could grasp on, so just so if you guys question that's kind of my reasoning for there, but I'm not changing shit that's a little gay and retarded. But yeah, it just kind of hit me, General, whenever I started listening to you, and I'm like, damn, I don't know a lick of freaking Italian. If I went there, I wouldn't like the food. I like my American Italian food or my American food. I want my cheeseburgers and French fries and steak and stuff. So that's kind of my personal story. But just wanted to let everybody know that. You feel free to question or call me a retard if you want. I'm down for all of it.
Well, it's one of those things where, again, let's look at the term ethnicity. What does it mean? Language is included in ethnicity. So, they want us to say, oh, you're European, you're this, you're that, you're German, you're French, you're Italian, you're this, that. Well, if you don't speak those languages, you can't claim that as your ethnicity. That's literally the definition of an ethnicity. So, that's the whole thing there. And people, that's the game that they played on us to try to get us to not recognize that American is an ethnicity. It is our ethnicity, American. You know, it's that simple. So, you know, it's when you actually get down to the nuts and bolts of it, and you really start going through all this stuff like we have, you start to see that all the other nonsense that they put on top of that, it's all false. It's all, like Rush says, war levels of propaganda to get you to not know what an American is. And if you walk around and ask 100 people what is an American, you'll get 100 different responses, and you'll find out real quick that they don't know what the hell an American is, period. No one has a clue because they were never taught. Why? Because they want to have someone like Vivek come in who's not an American and tell you what an American is. You know, we're the ones who started that whole conversation of what is an American right here on this show, period, full stop, 100%. We are the ones who started that. And now Vivek tried to hijack that to try to go around and tell everybody what he thinks an American is. And he's not an American. That's why he's trying to hijack it. He wants to control that narrative, just like the Ghislaine Maxwell, Robert Maxwell textbooks, to control the narrative so that they can steal your inheritance. That's what they're here for. They're here to steal our inheritance, to take from us. That's it. There's no other reason. Look what Vivek did. Vivek scammed people out billions of dollars with a fake drug, the fake Alzheimer's drug. He's just a low-tier 2-bit hack scammer. That's why we call him Vivek Ram Scammer, because all he's ever done is scam people. And now he's trying to scam us out of our own ethnic identity. Imagine that. A scammer trying to scam you out of your own identity. Surprise! Vivek's a Soros-funded shill trying to steal your ethnic identity. And he can't win because we have the founding documents. Put it up in the Jumbotron. It's literally in the Constitution. But they've manipulated terms. There's already a guy in the comment section. Well, to me, you know, isn't that a bit extreme? No, it's not extreme. What's extreme is someone like Vivek coming in and trying to say that he's American. That's extreme. He's the extremist. He's the racist. We're not over there trying to steal his ethnic identity and all this garbage. It's bullshit. But yeah, whoever's next with hands, go ahead, jump in there.
Well, maybe that's me. Good morning, everyone. Yeah, I may not even be articulate this morning because I am so angry. I am so frustrated. That last space just made me enraged to sit there and listen to some black man saying that whites have all at the seat of every seat of power in this country. What more do you want, white people? What more can we give you? What
Andrew,
more do you need? Yeah, go ahead.
Was that the space with Brev, me, and Platypussy?
Yep,
Okay.
It was. And I stayed in just a little bit longer, and I couldn't even stay on the speaker panel to voice my anger. But I mean, to have a black man say that we have all the power in the country, what more could we possibly want? What more could they possibly give us? I was like, oh my God, really? So tell me, what American city can I walk through at night as a white woman in my own country that you haven't taken over with crime and degeneracy and violence? Tell me one major American city that I can walk in my own country at night without your people assaulting me. Pick one. I mean, the hubris is unbelievable. The myopia is phenomenal. The sense of entitlement and privilege and victimhood all rolled into one is astounding. And I popped in Rush, and then I popped back out again. But when you were talking about that Nicki Minaj clip, when I saw that, I have to say, it gave me chills. Because I had a bad feeling when that news was going around that Erica Kirk was going to meet with Candace Owens. And I knew that they were going to come out all nice. And then we see Nicki Minaj, of all people, sitting there saying that, oh, she's going to speak up for Christians around the world. Look, the black woman and the white woman playing so nice together in their Christian-centered Zionist kumbaya. I absolutely knew this is subversive beyond subversive, because what Erica Kirk is positioning is she's leveraging Christianity and saying exactly what we've been saying in this space. Now you cannot be Christian in America unless you hold hands with the black people. It doesn't matter if they, have evinced no Christian values and morals whatsoever in their behavior here. I guess they're just going to become Christian overnight, and we're going to partner with them for a stronger America over my dead body. But that's what's being positioned here at very high levels, at these deep state corporate levels, is that you cannot be American now unless you will tether your Christianity to this black agenda, to this Zionist agenda. Otherwise, you're out, because that's the nation we're building. And I can't tell you how many hours I spent yesterday just on this platform posting the link to ethnicamerican.org and our objection and rejection of Ramaswamy, whatever you want to call him, and how much pushback I was getting from white people and black people about my racist views. And I'm astounded. I'm done. My patience is spilled over on the table. And I realize, like I said, I'm not going to be very articulate this morning, but it's just out of control. And I want my country back. I want my white Christian nation back without having to bow to the acceptance that, any black Christians are black Americans, and that all the brown people make me, a better white person by serving them. Oh my God, no, just fuck. All right, that's all I have to say. I'm going to land there.
No, I saw some people posting out like, this is how you win. Like, you don't know what winning looks like. You obviously don't know what winning looks like if you think that playing Kumbaya with degenerate rap music, talking about sex, drugs, and killing people is your win. You're retarded. You've lost then. If you have to adopt that identity to win, you've lost. You lost. There's no point in even trying to win if that's what you're pushing. And Erica Kirk, she's a piece of shit. Nobody wants to say, oh, she's a piece of shit. She took what Charlie built and is trying to turn it into a big pile of shit. TPUSA has been nothing but just trash since Charlie Kirk has passed away. Charlie Kirk was pretty based, guys. He knew what an American is. And I posted it out. And he's been very clear about what an American is. For them to just come up and put this bullshit on, like, oh, we're gonna do a kumbaya. No, you're not. We're not doing kumbaya. Fuck you in your face. We already did kumbaya and it destroyed us. We're done with fucking kumbaya. You fucked up already. The left and the right both fucked up doing this kumbaya bullshit. The left pushed it 15 steps to the left, and the right would come in and bring it back 2 steps, and then they let the left get back in, they bring it 15 steps over again, and the right would come in and hold the line, or maybe move it 1 step back. The right shit the fucking bed. And they let this get out of control, and now they think, oh, well, we just have to play combined. No, we don't. Black people do not vote Republican. We do not need blacks to win. All they've ever done is be a terrible anchor. A terrible anchor. You want to fix the country? You want to win? Get rid of fucking DEI. get rid of ESG scores, and get rid of all the Section 8 housing. That's how you win. The day you get rid of Section 8 housing, the Democrat Party is done forever. Because that's how they control all the cities. And that's where all the power is for voting and politics and money. It's the cities. Why do you think they took over all the cities? Because they know that's where the power is at. That's where you get political power. That's how you get some jackass like Alien Omar in there out of Minneapolis. That's how you get a Rashida Tlaib in there out of Detroit. You take over the cities. Every single terrible politician we have in this country is because of Section 8 housing. 100% because of Section 8 housing. Section 8 housing does not have to be in this city. They used to say, well, where are the people that work the low jobs going to live? I hate to break it to you, but people living on Section 8 housing don't work. They don't work. They live off the government. And they allow the Democrats to come in and push all this garbage. That's why we're invaded right now. Our country's invaded because of Section 8 housing. If there was no Section 8 housing, there would be none of this open borders nonsense. None of it. There would be no Joe Biden stolen election. There would be no flooded America with 30 million illegals. It's all from Section 8 housing, which all stems from the civil rights. Civil rights is terrorism. They used it to weaponize it. Get rid of Section 8. Getting rid of Section 8 will completely change the entire face of the country. It'll push all that garbage out of the cities. We'll have our cities back. We can make them nice again. We can make them a place where people actually want to go. Don't believe me? Detroit was the #1 city on the planet. Had the #1 economy on the entire planet for a city. Okay, after civil rights came, 1964, 1965, they had the blacks charge into Detroit with their race war, push everyone out. They turned it into war-torn Iraq. It went from being one of the most beautiful, prosperous cities on the planet to a total hellhole because of civil rights. They destroyed one of the most beautiful cities in the entire country. Why? For revenge and for power. They destroyed the place. They burned half of it to the ground. It literally looked like war-torn Iraq. And it took them all of 3 years to burn the whole damn place to the ground. And it happened in 1969. Right after they opened up our borders in 1965 with their civil rights bullshit and just gave them the green light to go burn our cities to the ground. That's civil rights. And if you said anything, you were a racist. Because slavery, slavery. Why do they hate you over slavery? Corporations love slavery. That's all they care about is slavery and slave labor. That's literally all they care about. If you want to see what Charlie Kirk thought was an American, I'll put it up in the Jumbotron. He said it clearly. He has posts on it. And Erica Kirk's running around with her nonsense. She's retarded. Maybe it's because her husband died. I don't know. And I really don't care. Because if you're going to be out there trying to control the narrative and shift politics, then you're putting your ass on the line. You're going to get put on fire. You know, they're going to, you're putting yourself front and center. You're making yourself a political figure. You're going to get blessed. It's the same shit with this Hot Wheels governor down there, Abbott. You know, oh, I'm in a wheelchair. I don't care. You're a traitor. You destroyed the country. You flooded us with a bunch of third world retards that destroyed Texas. I don't give a shit if you're wheelchair or not. You love India so much, we'll wheelchair your ass over to India. I don't care. We have zero sympathy. We have zero time for this sympathy bullshit. You want to understand why all the corporations want to go to India? I'll put it up in the Jumbotron too. You can see. You know why they demonize you about slavery? Because the corporations love slavery. and they're pissed at you, and they hate white people because white people ended slavery. Why did they burn Detroit to the ground? Because they hated Henry Ford, because Henry Ford called out the little tiny hats. So they burned the whole city to the ground with their civil rights. Look at that chart in the Jumbotron. India has 18 million slaves, chattel slaves. China only has 3.3 million. So they want to leave China and go to India. That's why they want to go to India, because they want access to slavery, slave labor. Do you think they sent all of our jobs and production to China in the first place because they were smarter than us and they were more skilled than we are? No, it's because it was cheap. Because it was cheap. They're cheap. Slave labor. Corporations love slave labor. Why do they want to destroy you? Because you reject slave labor. They want to destroy America because Americans reject slave labor. That's why they hate America.
I was trying to find that post, but I can't look it up right now. I have to operate the crane.
That's why they want to destroy America in pursuit of slavery. Why are they flooding us with the entire third world? Because they want to bring slavery back. They're trying to bring slavery back. You flood us with the third world. You depress all of our wages down to slave labor wages. And now you got slavery. That's what they're doing. Why do you think they got off the gold standard? Because then they can print money out of thin air and turn you into a slave. They love slavery. Why do you think they all want to come to America? All these big corporations, because they want access to our tax dollars. And who do they want to pay for it? They want us to pay for it. You got Costco up there having a lawsuit against Trump for his tariffs because they're pissed they have to pay taxes. They don't want to pay the taxes. They want the American people to pay the taxes. They want us to pay for their slave labor. All these illegals coming into America, getting paid their rent, their food stamps, their health care, their education. Who's paying for that? Not the corporations. We are paying for that. And the corporations get to hire them for cheap because we're paying for everything. And if you're a business owner in America, now you're paying for your own employees, plus Walmart's slave labor employees, illegal labor, all these illegals. That's why they're hiring all these illegals everywhere. You're paying for it. We're paying for it, not the corporations. That's why they hate tariffs. Because when there's tariffs, the companies actually have to pay it. And they don't want to. They want the American people to pay for their slave labor while they're turning Americans into slaves. That's why income tax is unconstitutional. That's why Trump's going back to tariffs. And the corporations are pissed. Well, it's the same shit. You got China coming in here and buying up all of our farmland. China's a government. Why do American farmers have to compete with a foreign government? We don't even allow our own government to compete against our own people. You're going to let China's government come in here? You're going to let Pakistan's government come in here? The Pakistani government bought the Roosevelt Hotel for $35 million. They made $840 million housing illegals to flood us and destroy us. They used our own tax dollars against us to invade us and flood us. And they made us pay for it. So some foreign government could make $840 million. Who owns all the hotels across the country? The Indians. 90% of rural hotels are owned by Indians. Why? Because they're the ones that make all the money when you invade the country. Who's invading the country? The NGOs. When all those Indians get control of those businesses, which they used government grants and small business loans for minorities to buy them all up so that they could invade the country. And they're giving kickbacks to the NGOs. And they're using those businesses to get other forms of visas outside of H-1B to bring people in. It's just another scheme to invade our country. Why are we letting these big corporations that are funded by foreign countries come into our country and compete with us? While in many cases, they're getting tax breaks from the states themselves. So we have to pay more taxes, and all these big corporations that are owned by foreign governments or subsidized by foreign governments are putting us out on our own businesses. What the hell are we doing here? And then you got Laura Loomer screaming about Casey Pooch. Oh, he's an isolationist. He doesn't want to let foreign governments come in here and put you out of business. Why? Why does Laura Loomer love Vivek so much? Why do all these Jews love Vivek so much? Because they know he's going to lose. They know he's going to lose. And who's running against him? Amy Acton. And who is Amy Acton? Amy Acton's a Jew. And that's why they all love Vivek. And why everyone to rally behind Vivek. Because Vivek's already behind in the polls to Amy Acton. Vivek cannot beat Amy Acton. Because he's going to lose. That's why all the Jews love Vivek. Because they know he's going to lose to a Jewish woman. And they're going to have their person in there that they want. Because they're all Israeli first. They're not American first. They don't care about America. You think Laura Loomer cares about America? No, she doesn't. That's why she's backing Vivek. Because she hates America. Vivek is funded by George Soros. Vivek is funded by George Soros. Period. He's Obama 2.0. He ran DEI programs at his own company. Yeah, he wants to destroy America. Rev, go ahead, jump in there.
Wow. Excellent cooking. I am fully capable of having, when I need to jump behind the line and help out as a cook. I'm capable, but no way am I even a sous chef compared to that freaking outstanding cooking. So I'm absorbing all of that, the data, the facts, the statistics, the things that you bring up all the time, and I'm glad to be it. The issue is passed, so I'll just leave it at this. Because I do want to bring up one thing, if I may, not to derail, but the push. I forget who brought it up, but I also, in New Jersey, imagine a Portuguese immigrant in New Jersey in the snow with a blue push moped that he took the fenders off of, put knobbies on it. A friend of mine changed the carburetor on it. We had that thing cooking. I was a very popular 14-year-old immigrant in New Jersey with my blue German-made push moped that was a complete outstanding example of ingenuity. And that is going back to Push, his invention, his creation of the car that is supposedly, from what I understand, an option, an alternative that has been squashed. He needs more support. He needs everybody that is listening to me now to post him, repost him, comment, put him forward, because he is, in my opinion, the best example that we have of an American for America because of the right ideas. Not some poser, not some freaking foreigner that is stealing the identity and literally cosplaying an American. So I'll leave it with that, General. Always a pleasure to taste your recipe when you're outstandingly cooking away. So
I'm gonna leave the homo jokes there. They're just too easy, so I'm just gonna leave that there.
Keep going.
Yeah, we have some good candidates coming up now. You know, Casey, he's great. He's your Midwest guy, 100%. You know, he understands. He's old enough where, I don't know how old he is. He's probably mid-40s, early 40s, mid-40s, somewhere in there. he was old enough to see what happened to the Midwest when they started shipping all the jobs out of America. And he saw what happened, you know. And I listened to this guy, George. He was on the space the other day, and I couldn't really respond to him. They kicked me out of the space. But he was talking about the education system being a problem. Well, the education system isn't really that big of a problem. The problem that they have is demographics. And I've posted on this before a bunch of times. We don't have, we have some issues with education, but that's not the real problem. The real problem is demographics. And if you look at the PISA scores and every metric across the board, you'll see. And again, if you want to fix this, run mass deportations, get everyone the hell out, take Section 8, push it out of the cities, don't let them have those voting blocks in there, which control, that's what destroyed New York. Section 8 housing and rent control is what destroyed New York City. That's how you end up with a mayor like Ma'am Dammer, or this mayor of Cincinnati, this Indian guy. That's how you end up with all this shit, is because of Section 8 housing. 100%. And if you want to take the country back, we need to get rid of Section 8 housing, or at least relocate it outside of the cities where they don't have access to this voting block, where they can keep destroying everything. It's absolutely unacceptable. All of our cities are under fire. You know, you end up with mayors like this psychopath Indian guy, Ma'am Dammer. You know, when that white woman was beat half to death in Cincinnati, the mayor came out and was like, oh, who cares? You know, this was his response. Oh, who cares? It was a white lady. Yeah, because he's Indian. Indians don't care. How the hell did he get in there to begin with? Section 8. That's how. It's a big problem. It's a huge problem. It needs to be addressed. The whole civil rights bullshit needs to be addressed. They've used that to destroy our country. Without civil rights, none of these invaders would be here, because none of these illegal invaders from third world countries could have access to our welfare system. Indians wouldn't own 90% of rural hotels because they wouldn't have access to minority grants and minority loans. Yeah, that's how they're buying everything up. That's how all these foreigners come in here, these third world foreigners, and buy everything up based on minority grants and minority loans, all based off of civil rights bullshit. It's designed to destroy our country. Yeah, go ahead, Rip.
To add to your Section 8 position, which I agree with 100%, the reason for this embedded population that is Section 8 housing, there's clips. I came across one recently of a young ghetto dweller, Section 8, claiming literally, because of the circumstances, that he was born to be in the ghetto. It's generational. All you had to do is have 8 kids. Section 8 reference with 8 kids. How convenient. And then you're Gucci, in his words. That means that he has literally been conditioned and is expecting nothing more than to just live off of the welfare, the Section 8, all of the things that the general is bringing up, with the entitlement that we are financing these Section 8 inhabitants, and generationally have been able to maintain it. I mean, the EBT fiasco that was recently an issue showed you their true colors, their character. It's not their color of skin. It's their character that's the problem. It's their freaking DNA that's the problem. And it keeps perpetuating itself with Section 8 and the civil rights. That's what enables them. That is how they, as literally leeches off of the white men, have to have us around. They cannot survive on their own. That's why they come to this country, to the United States and to Europe, because in their own world, in their own shitholes. They cannot live amongst each other, support, sustain, and thrive within themselves. They only can be the most productive when they're being told what to do. They are not on their own a self-sustaining people, race, whatever you want to call it. And to think otherwise is foolish. You have to look at what we're talking about here, Section 8, the cities. What if suddenly there was a ending of all of this civil rights and all of this welfare? What if it was just cut out? Well, the EBT showed you what would happen. Complete, absolute chaos. And getting rid of that is what I want. I want them to prosper, but not because of my financing it. I want them to be proud of themselves for their accomplishments, if they have them, where they're from, where they belong, and help their people. And mostly, I want them to leave us alone and let us fix our own problems and let us prosper within our own people as well, which is the problem. Whites are the only race that it is allowed to be anti. And even in our majority, still, some with a very thin line still being the majority, are still white majority.
What up, Jill?
And that is what it should be. We should be a majority in our countries. The Chinese are a majority in China. The Saudis are a majority in Saudi Arabia. Well, imagine that. The Jews are a majority in Israel. Does anybody complain? Why aren't these other countries that are literally ethno-states allowed to not be criticized or to be brought up in these conversations as examples of what is being done to us, our countries, our nations, and our people? It is because it is a concerted, coordinated effort that we've pointed out several times, from the migration replacement program to the World Health Organization. All of these things are been nothing more than programs to design and to effect an erasure of what they fear, and historically have been the only ones that have been successful at fortunately temporarily getting them out and resolving the situation. But the problem, of course, is that we keep letting them back in. We kind of forget. And then the empathy and the kindness and the altruistic nature of our race, unfortunately, is their weapon. And we're becoming more aware of that. This pot is boiling. The toothpaste cannot go back in the tube. It's coming. And that's where we're at. If you keep that in mind, a lot of things will be clear as to what the problem is, what the resolution, what the fix is. And that's why we are having all of these discussions and programs. And as far as America is concerned, that issue is boiling at the top of the pot at this point. So whatever's coming, it's there.
Yep, I agree. I put a post up in the Jumbotron that this is thanks to Erica Kirk's dumbass. This is their new vision of America. This is what's going to save America. JD Vance and Nicki Minaj 2028. They want Nicki Minaj to be the vice president of America. Thanks, Erica Kirk, you piece of shit. This is the kind of bullshit that happens when you do this. Like, oh, this is what winning looks like. Really? Is that what winning looks like? That's what winning looks like to you? Yeah, we have some mass deportations to handle, and anyone who thinks that's a good idea needs to be mass deported. We're tired of this bullshit where they're trying to completely erase us in our own country. And because retarded ass Mossad agents or whatever the hell she is, Erica Kirk, up there running this bullshit, this is the kind of garbage that they're pumping out. This is winning. This is winning. absolutely retarded. And again, Erica Kirk, if you don't want the heat, get the fuck out of the kitchen. Don't be a public figure. You don't get sympathy anymore. You don't get sympathy for, oh, my husband passed, I'm a widow. Okay, go home. Go home. Don't be a public figure then. You don't get that sympathy. You didn't even let his body warm before you're out there doing this bullshit. We're not playing that game. You've completely weaponized everything that he built. You can piss off. We're not buying it. Running around with your gold pants or whatever the hell she's doing, this nonsense. Yeah, we're not doing that. We're not buying your bullshit anymore. You finished yourself with this. We're completely done with anybody who's trying to push this bullshit onto us. We've had this bullshit pushed onto us for 70 straight years, and we're done with it. Game over. Not gonna happen. JD Vance. Oh, anyone who says anything against my wife, you can eat shit. Okay. I mean, how much cow shit did your wife feed you? Because we know your wife comes from the culture where they eat cow shit and drink cow piss. We don't care. Or maybe we should call you JD Bowman. Oh, no, wait. What's his name? JD Hamill? I don't know. He changed his name so many damn times. Maybe we'll just call him by his son's first name, Vivek. Yeah. We'll start referring to JD Vance by his son's first name. His firstborn son's first name, Vivek. Yeah. You hate the shit, buddy.
How about
We're not buying it.
How about
We're not
Vivek
buying
Senior? You could call him Vivek Senior.
Vivek Singh?
Senior.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, you know. And well, if you don't like it, then there's too bad. No, if you don't like it, move your ass to India. You name your kid Vivek. You obviously care about India. Yeah, you name your son, firstborn son, Vivek. You change your name 3 fucking times. We don't care. We don't give a shit. We're calling it out. We're not going to be quiet because, oh no, you might hurt somebody's feelings. Yeah. You shouldn't have married an Indian. We're not going to vote for that bullshit. Period. We're done. We're going to vote for our own people from now on. Vivek, you're done. We're not going to vote for you. We don't care. You're an Indian. You're not an American. Go back to India. You want to be the head of a state? No problem. Do it in India. Same thing. Valentina Gomez. I want to run for office. Great. We'll make you the next president of Colombia after we remove the current president. No problem. You're not going to be in our politics. We're done with third world retards getting into our politics. It's destroyed our country. Everybody's seen it. Everybody's witnessed it. Everybody's feeling the pain. Everybody's feeling the pain of this bullshit, and they want to keep pushing it. They want to keep doubling and tripling down on it. We're not going to double and triple down on your bullshit. We're going to double and triple down on voting for our people, just like all the Indians are voting for Vivek. All the Indians are going to vote for Indians. All the blacks are going to vote for blacks. Well, all the whites are going to vote for whites. How about that? How about that? Because that's the way you fix the country. That's the way you fix the country. All this shit would be fixed. All of it. We're not playing this DEI bullshit game. It destroyed America. Vivek gets up there and says, DEI isn't our strength. Neither is the lineage. Well, I hate to break it to you, buddy. You just stepped on your own dick. Because the absence of DEI is the lineage. You have one or the other. You don't have both. It's not like you're condemning everybody in the whole country. It's retardation. This guy, you think, well, I guess it's true. Indians have small brains, so what can I do? That's just what you get with a guy like Vivek. But again, he sold a bullshit scamming drug, and now he's trying to scam us out of our identity. We're done with that. We're not going to allow that to happen. He doesn't get to dictate who we are. Never let your enemy dictate who you are. Never let your enemy tell you who you are. And Vivek is a clear-cut enemy. Period. If we went to India, if we took 6 million or 7 million white Americans and went to India and said, we're Indian! We're Indian! How dare you, heritage Indians! The idea of a heritage Indian is lunacy. It's loony. You have to let us control you. You have to let us be in your government. You have to vote us in for prime minister. You have to vote us in for the governorship of all the states of India. Because the idea of a heritage Indian is loony. Sir? How do you think that's gonna go down? They'll start fucking killing you straight away. And that's not a joke. In India, they have bounties out, contracts, to have Christian priests assassinated right now. Modi's party. You know the Modi that Vivek loves so much? He's always talking about how great Modi is. Yeah, Modi's party in India has assassination contracts out for Christians in India. So if you go over there and you start making these demands, they're just going to kill your ass. But they want to come here and tell us? Fuck you. Nope. Not going to happen. Not ever going to happen. Never in a million years. We're done.
Did we lose General?
Or Russia's war level of propaganda, I think, is not accurate enough to describe it anymore. I think we need to go bigger, further, galactic or federation level propaganda. And unfortunately, it's legal for the government to manipulate this propaganda while they isolate themselves and censor us for doing it. So it's in a situation where the fight has to come back by the support of those that speak for us and have the issues of what is important, the legacy, the heritage, and the ethnicity of America. That's how it's going to change, and that's what's happening. So we need to support them and keep it alive and further it, and others will follow. That's how it got here, and this is how it's going to evolve, and eventually we're going to win. It's going to be a little bit of a pack. It's going to take some patience, but we're on the way. We're on the path to counter all of this, and this is how it's going to be done.
Exactly. I mean, we're in the fight. The Overton window is shifting, and our talking points are becoming mainstream. And MAGA and the Trump base, they're placating. To me, it just shows that the voice is being heard, and we're getting wins that we wanted. You know, like getting the Somalians out of Minnesota. And doing mass deportations there. They've stopped the Somalians from coming into our country with the travel ban, but there's even the talks of denaturalization and starting to kick these people that are here and committed crimes, committed things fraudulently, denaturalize them and send them back. I mean, I didn't really imagine the Overton window to shift this much so quickly, and to me, it's reason to be very optimistic.
And that's from Rush, so you know it's true. If he's optimistic with a little bit of a white pill on there, I absolutely agree. And that's what we're witnessing. That's what we're talking about. there is hope, and nothing happens overnight. It takes time for everything to be implemented, to be placed. I mean, you want to go to visit somebody, there's things that have to happen. First of all, you have to get up off your chair, you have to grab your keys, you have to go in your car, you have to start the car. If you break it down in the perception, in that respect, the things that frustrate us for not being fast enough, or things happening at a pace that we would wish, well, it's because of all of the logistics involved and the actual steps that maybe we're not aware of, that we're not privy of, that frustrate us as well.
Yeah. Well, I just made a post there. Up in the Jumbotron, you can see this lady. This lady got fired because she put a sign in her bus saying English only. You speak English only, out of respect for the English only speakers on this bus. She's talking to illegals who we have to pay. We have to pay for illegals to go to our school. And now the illegals have more rights and have more power in America than white Americans. You know, the ones Vivek's demonizing, oh, the heritage American. Yeah. Just know that whenever Vivek says heritage American, he's talking about white Americans. He hates white people. That's why he's attacking this whole idea of heritage American. He hates you for being white. It's his code word for hating white people. And this is what happens when you vote for people like Vivek. When you vote for non-white people, this is what you get. They make laws designed to attack white people. And they make you have less rights in your own country than the foreign invaders that are coming here. Like that Cinnabon lady. Those foreign invading Somalians got her fired. Just like this case. One more case. The foreign invader Mexicans got her fired. Now the Civil Rights Department is going to take it up and investigate because she said speak English. This is America. Oh no, you get fired now if you're white and you tell people to speak English in your own country. That's what an invasion looks like. And then Vivek wants us to vote for his dumb ass after he got done demonizing all these people like this lady who just got fired for telling people to speak English in our country. This is why you never, ever, ever vote for someone who's non-white. Period. Ever. Not once. Ever. It's impossible. Never vote for non-whites. Ever. Not in America. Never. If you vote for a non-white person, this is what you're opening the door to. It doesn't matter what they say. They'll promise you everything under the sun, just like Vivek the Ram scammer. He promised everyone his Alzheimer's drug was going to be great. You know, his mother lost her license to practice over that whole thing, that whole scam. But he still walked away with millions of dollars. Yep. And when Harmeet the G. Dillon tells us, oh, we need more foreign doctors. Really? Vivek's mother was a foreign doctor. And we had to strip her of her license for scamming. That's his lineage. That's his heritage. Scamming people. That's what they are. They're scammers. And what it leaves us with is a country where you're demonized. Like that guy, he got stabbed by the black guy. He called him the N-word after he stabbed him. And they let the guy off who stabbed him because he called him an N-word after he got stabbed. This is civil rights, guys. Civil rights is terrorism against white people. Full stop. And all it is designed to have us be quiet and strip us of our rights to defend our country from illegal invaders. But now we have a voice. There's enough big accounts on the #1 news source on the planet where they can't ignore it anymore. They can't ignore it anymore. It's being forced in everyone's face. The Overton window has shifted. because we demanded it. We had the ability to demand it now, and people are fully demanding it. People are sick of it. We're taking our country back. Never vote for non-whites ever. Period. Ever. Because this is what it leads to. It leads to this bullshit of white people losing all your rights that our forefathers fought and died for. They want to take your First Amendment right with hate speech. There's no white people demanding hate speech laws. Zero. There are 0 people demanding hate speech laws who are white. There's some people who pretend to be white who demand anti-Semitism laws, but they're not white. Trump signed an executive order in 2019 stating that Jews are their own race and ethnicity. They're not white. Yeah. All these anti-laws, the blacks, as long as you say something they don't like, they can stab you, they can rape you, they can kill you, and they can get away with it. That's what all these laws are. It's all under civil rights bullshit. It's all civil rights. Civil rights is terrorism. It's anti-American. It's literally anti-American. Civil rights is anti-American. Period. 100%. And that's what it leads to. Now all of a sudden, the civil rights is going to help white people. F you. The civil rights is what got us into this situation to begin with. Now all of a sudden you want to pretend like you're the hero? That's bullshit. It's bullshit. The CRS. We started putting the CRS on blast, so they had to go hide it. The Community Relations Service. Whenever a black person would stab a white person, the Community Relations Service would run over there and say, hey, if you say something that makes this into a racial issue, we're going to come after you and your whole family. So you better say exactly what we tell you to say so that there's no racial conflict because this black guy just stabbed your son in the chest and killed him. Yep. And we started calling him out. And what did Harmeet the Jeep Dillon do? She grabbed up the CRS and moved it over under the DOJ into another area and kind of just worked it in there so we didn't know it still exists. It still exists. It still exists. Same bullshit. It's Jewish Vajit lawyer bullshit of hiding that so that it can stay operational. Keep demonizing white people. Now civil rights is going to be our best friend because they realized they lost. They pushed it too far, and now they want to pretend like they're our friend. Just like Vivek, he ran all these DEI programs at his company, and now all of a sudden he wants to pretend like, oh, I'm 1776. I'm right there with you. Yeah, too bad, asshole. You already showed us your true colors. Last Christmas, he called us all stupid and lazy. This Christmas, he's telling us we don't exist. The idea of a heritage American is loony. Now he's telling us we just straight up don't exist. Yep. Because he hates white people. Vivek hates white people. That's why he ran DEI. That's why he demonized us last Christmas. That's why he's demonizing us this Christmas. Do you think it's a coincidence that he does this at Christmas time every single year? Last Christmas, it didn't work out too well for him. He got kicked out of Doge. This Christmas is not going to work out for him too well either. He's going to get kicked out of the governor race. Casey Push is going to take over. And they all hate him because they know he can win. Everyone knows Vivek doesn't have a snowball's chance in hell at winning that governor's race. But yeah, Rush, jump in there. I'm talking too much here.
No, it's been great. It's been great. I think people have really enjoyed it. Platypus, good morning, buddy. Jump on in there.
Yeah, I was just going to say, our credo needs to be access to white people is not a human right, is not a civil right, it is not a Christian right.
See you next week.
It is, it's absurd that sometimes you broach these subjects about like the demographic reality of violence and rape, you know, of interracial realities. And, you know, like, there was a huge uproar back in the day when, like, on the bus, oh, you know, we're going to sit at the back of the bus. You know, like, everyone was outraged. Let's sit at the back of the bus. And, like, it's right now a galore. You can see examples of, like, people being stabbed, people being, you know, this at schools, white kids just being, like, mauled by mobs of non-white people. And, like, there's no, it's like, there's no issue here. Nobody's going to entertain any kind of reasonable discussion. As a matter of fact, we're going to project onto you that you're a racist. That you for speaking about this phenomena, you know, is like the most racist thing to ever have happened. I mean, it's like the most abusive gaslight ever. And it's completely disingenuous, and the people show their colors. I mean, anytime you bring these things up, there's no voting with these people. There's no getting along with this in a representative form of government to resolve this. They are completely just continuing, doubling down, denying, and all of this. There's, you know, it's problematic. But I do want to just reiterate, our credo needs to be access to white people is not a human right. It is not a civil right. It is not a Christian right. It is entirely not some kind of Christian doctrine that somehow to be a good Christian, you have to allow for, like, an invasion of your country demographically and all this. You know, it's what they've done. They call you a phobe. They call you a racist if you're criticizing the fact that there's a religion, like, has nothing to do with race. They'll call you a racist anyways if you criticize the fact that there's a bunch of, like, you know, jihadists following along with this doctrine that they have that is obviously increasing the prevalence of this kind of abuse. So, I mean, like, everything they do is just completely backwards. There's no reasoning with them. There's no communicating with them. As a matter of fact, I put it in the comment bill below. There's a mayor in Massachusetts. He needs a freaking translator. He doesn't even speak English to carry on proceedings. They have a freaking translator. This is where we're at. And, like, I mean, this is usually what happens when, you know, civilizations just fall apart. When people can't even communicate reasonably. So, just wanted to throw that in there. It's kind of, this really needs to be the landing point, I think, is just comparing the, you know, the woman on the bus, the back of the bus, somehow was like the most outrageous thing, and that was used to justify this integration. And now the all-out onslaught is not even something that will broach a conversation about maybe we should dial back our anti-white rhetoric. You know what I mean? It's completely absurd. And we'll end there.
All right, dude.
Well, perfect, Platypus. I mean, it sounds like that you had a conversation in other spaces, and that's why I like, you know, sometimes we get called an echo chamber. I mean, in this space, we constantly have disagreements with each other and work those disagreements out and discuss topics where we don't agree on 100%. But, you know, we are all patriot Americans that, you know, ethnic Americans that love our nation, and we want our nation to continue the way it is. We don't want it to turn into a third world hellhole. We don't want to be the Brazil of North.
Alright guys, I'm fixing to head home for today, so I'm gonna shut this stream down. If you want to watch or listen to any more of it, there's about 28 minutes left. You can go to General's profile at 1776 General _ and scroll down till you see this purple thing right, chum. Click on that and you can listen to the rest of it.